Hello, we're our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the shocking Halloween terror that's about to unfold in Salem during the week of October 27th to 31st, where danger lurks around every corner and one hero will emerge to save the day. The upcoming episodes promise heart-stopping moments as Alex Kyriakis becomes an unlikely savior, while young Thomas DiMera faces yet another emotional upheaval that will leave him reeling. A terrifying Halloween attack in Town Square. The spooky season takes a sinister turn when Salem's Town Square transforms into a scene of absolute horror. During the Halloween festivities, Kat Green finds herself in mortal danger as a mysterious figure dressed in a lab coat emerges from the shadows with deadly intentions. This chilling assailant appears out of nowhere, brandishing a weapon and moving toward Kat with murderous purpose. The peaceful Halloween celebration quickly descends into chaos as this slasher-style threat materializes, leaving Kat vulnerable and terrified in the heart of Salem's busiest public space. The identity of this lab coat-wearing menace remains shrouded in mystery, raising questions about whether this is a random Halloween prank gone horribly wrong or something far more calculated and sinister targeting Kat specifically. Alex Kyriakis springs into action. Just when all seems lost for Kat Green, Alex Kyriakis proves he's more than just a handsome face in Salem. With lightning-fast reflexes and heroic instincts, Alex spots the imminent danger and doesn't hesitate for even a moment. He shouts out an urgent warning to Kat, yelling at her to watch out and be careful as the threat closes in on her. His quick thinking and brave intervention become the difference between life and death for Kat in that terrifying moment. Alex's heroism shines through as he puts himself at risk to protect someone who has become increasingly isolated in Salem due to her troubled past. This dramatic rescue showcases a side of Alex that many residents of Salem may not have fully appreciated before. His willingness to step up when someone's life hangs in the balance, regardless of their history or reputation in town. Kat seeks comfort in Chad's arms. Following the horrifying Halloween attack that leaves her shaken to her core, Kat Green's first instinct is to run straight into Chad DiMera's protective embrace. In this vulnerable moment of crisis, she doesn't think twice about where she finds safety and comfort. It's Chad's arms that call to her. The two share an intensely emotional and deeply connected moment that speaks volumes about the complicated feelings still simmering between them. Despite their recent breakup caused by Thomas's dramatic meltdown over their relationship, the chemistry and bond between Chad and Kat proves impossible to deny in this moment of raw vulnerability. Their embrace lingers longer than a simple comforting gesture between acquaintances would suggest, revealing that Chad's feelings for Kat haven't disappeared just because he chose to prioritize his son's emotional well-being. This poignant scene demonstrates that sometimes traumatic events have a way of stripping away pretense and revealing what people's hearts truly desire, even when their minds have convinced them to walk away. Thomas witnesses the intimate moment. The situation takes another complicated turn when young Thomas DiMera happens upon the scene at the worst possible moment. Having already caused turmoil by having a complete emotional breakdown over his father's relationship with Kat Green, Thomas now finds himself witnessing exactly what he feared most. His dad and Kat sharing an intimate, tender moment that clearly indicates their feelings for each other haven't faded. The sight of his father holding Kat so closely, comforting her in such an obviously caring manner, sends Thomas into a state of complete shock. This Halloween celebration, which should have been filled with fun costumes and candy collecting, instead becomes another traumatic experience for the already troubled young boy. Thomas stands frozen, processing the scene before his eyes and likely feeling betrayed that his father would return to the woman he so desperately wanted out of their lives. The emotional weight of this discovery crushes down on Thomas's shoulders as he realizes his previous tantrum may not have achieved the permanent separation he was hoping for between his father and Kat. Thomas's ongoing struggle with Kat. Thomas DiMera has been dealing with intense conflicted emotions regarding Kat Green's presence in his father's life for quite some time now. The young boy experienced profound trauma when Kat masqueraded as his deceased mother Abigail, reopening wounds that had barely begun to heal. His recent meltdown over Chad's relationship with Kat was so severe that it forced Chad to make the difficult decision to break things off with her, choosing his son's mental health over his own romantic happiness. Prior to the Halloween incident, Thomas had even been seeking advice from Jeremy Horton about how to ensure his father and Kat stayed apart permanently. Jeremy, serving as a voice of reason, attempted to counsel Thomas toward forgiveness and acceptance, gently suggesting that perhaps Kat deserves another chance and that holding on to anger only hurts everyone involved. However, Thomas's resistance to accepting Kat into their family circle has remained strong, fueled by his protective instincts toward his late mother's memory and fear of being hurt again. Now, witnessing this intimate moment between his father and Kat at the Halloween celebration threatens to undo any progress Jeremy might have made in opening Thomas's heart to the possibility of forgiveness. The complex Chad and Kat relationship. The relationship between Chad DiMera and Kat Green has been one of the most controversial and complicated storylines in Salem this year. Their connection defies all logical explanation. After all, Kat cruelly deceived Chad by pretending to be his beloved deceased wife Abigail, causing him immeasurable emotional pain. Yet despite the unforgivable nature of her actions, Chad has found himself inexplicably drawn to Kat in ways that confuse even him. The key to his ability to move toward forgiveness has been understanding that Kat only participated in the deception because the dangerous criminal Clyde Weston was holding her mother hostage, forcing her compliance through threats against her family. This context doesn't erase the harm caused, but it has allowed Chad to see Kat as a victim herself rather than simply a villain. Kat, for her part, has been honest about harboring deep romantic feelings for Chad while simultaneously trying to suppress those emotions out of respect for his grief and his family's opposition to their relationship. Most people in Salem, particularly Abigail's parents Jack and Jennifer Devereaux, remain completely unwilling to forgive or accept Kat, making Chad's willingness to give her a second chance all the more remarkable and controversial. Their recent breakup, though painful for both parties, seemed necessary for Thomas's well-being. But this Halloween crisis may reignite what they tried so hard to extinguish. What this means for Chad's family. The aftermath of the Halloween incident and Thomas witnessing his father's intimate moment with Kat will undoubtedly create new tensions within the DiMera household. Chad now finds himself caught between two impossible choices, honoring his son's emotional needs and resistance to Kat, or following his heart toward a woman who has unexpectedly captured his affections despite her troubled introduction into his life. Thomas's shock at seeing his father and Kat together may trigger another emotional crisis for the boy, potentially requiring professional help or family intervention to address his ongoing trauma. Chad's brother E.J. DiMera has shown understanding and sympathy regarding Chad's complicated situation, recognizing that there are no easy answers when balancing parental responsibilities with personal happiness. The Halloween attack may actually serve as a turning point. Perhaps seeing Kat in genuine danger and watching his father rush to comfort her will help Thomas understand that his father's feelings are real and deserve consideration. Alternatively, it could deepen Thomas's resentment and sense of betrayal, driving an even larger wedge between father and son. Whatever happens next, the DiMera family faces difficult conversations and emotional healing that won't come quickly or easily. The Halloween horror continues. The slasher-style attack on Kat Green appears to be part of a larger pattern of Halloween mayhem descending upon Salem this year. Spoilers indicate that this won't be the only frightening incident during the spooky season, with multiple residents potentially finding themselves in the crosshairs of danger. The person in the lab coat attacking Kat raises disturbing questions about hospital-related storylines that have been unfolding, particularly concerning the mysterious new hospital wing that has generated considerable suspicion and concern among several Salem residents. Could this Halloween attacker be connected to the dark secrets being hidden within the hospital facility? Or is this a separate threat entirely motivated by personal vendetta against Kat specifically? The lab coat costume could be a deliberate choice meant to send a message or create misdirection, making it harder to identify the true perpetrator hiding behind the medical disguise. As Salem residents try to enjoy Halloween festivities, they're discovering that real horror has invaded their celebration, turning what should be harmless fun into genuine terror that will leave lasting trauma on everyone involved. The week of October 27th to 31st promises to deliver edge-of-your-seat suspense as viewers watch these dangerous events unfold and wonder who will be targeted next. The October 22nd, 2025 episode of Days of Our Lives delivers an emotional, tense, and surprisingly reflective hour that focuses on redemption, forgiveness, and ambition. All through the troubled eyes of Mark, a man trying to rebuild his life after time behind bars. After weeks of speculation and off-screen mentions, Mark finally walks free from prison, looking older, wearier, and more determined than ever. His first stop, Salem's iconic Horton Town Square, the crossroads where so many lives have collided over the years. There, he comes face to face with Kat, who's both relieved and hesitant to see him. A painful reunion. As Mark steps into the sunlight of the square, his eyes lock onto Kat's. The tension between them is immediate and heavy. Once close allies and almost something more, the two now stand as uneasy acquaintances trying to bridge the silence that years of mistakes have built. Kat, ever compassionate yet guarded, greets him softly. For a moment, it seems like a fresh start is possible. But before either of them can find their footing, Chad appears from across the plaza. The air freezes. Mark's confidence evaporates as Chad stops just a few feet away. The unspoken history between them, betrayal, violence, and shattered trust, hangs like a storm cloud. Mark opens his mouth, maybe to say I'm sorry, maybe to explain, but nothing comes out. Chad, face set in cold disappointment, turns and walks away without a word. Kat watches it all unfold and shakes her head. "Let it go," she tells Mark quietly. "You can't fix it right now." Her voice trembles with emotion. And not just for Mark. She's clearly still hurting too. As they sit down on a nearby bench, Kat begins to talk, haltingly honestly, about her complicated history with Chad. She tells Mark how she and Chad fell for each other, how their relationship crumbled under pressure, and how they've broken up. Not once, but twice. By the time she finishes, Kat's eyes are wet. Mark listens, unsure how to comfort her. There's a haunting stillness between them. Two broken souls, each nursing regrets that seem too big to mend. Then, almost abruptly, Kat wipes her tears and changes the subject. "You need a fresh start," she insists. "A job, a chance to prove you've changed." She even has an idea, EJ DiMera. A dangerous plan. The mere mention of EJ's name sends a ripple of tension through the scene. EJ, the ruthless DiMera patriarch, has built his empire on power, manipulation, and secrets. Not exactly a welcoming figure for a man with a criminal record. But Kat is persuasive. She insists that if anyone could give Mark a shot, it's EJ. After all, EJ has made questionable hires before, and he respects boldness. Even without a valid medical license, Kat believes they can convince EJ to take Mark on for some sort of research or technical role. Mark, perhaps desperate enough to believe it, agrees. The encounter with EJ. Later, we find EJ in his office at DiMera Enterprises, seated behind his massive mahogany desk. The camera lingers on him as he flips through a weathered copy of Wuthering Heights, a darkly romantic novel about obsession, revenge, and forbidden love. The symbolism is unmistakable. There's a knock at the door. EJ doesn't look up. "Come in," he says coolly. Mark steps in, dressed in a modest suit that doesn't quite fit, clutching a folder in his hands. "Mr. DiMera," he begins, trying to sound confident. "My name is Mark," but EJ interrupts. "I know who you are." The line lands like a slap. EJ's tone is polite but ice-cold. He closes his book, leans back in his chair, and studies the man standing before him. "You're the one who nearly shot my brother." Mark swallows hard. He quickly stammers out an apology, explaining that things were complicated, that he never meant to hurt anyone, least of all Chad. He insists he's changed, that he's ready to work, to contribute, to start over. For a moment, there's silence. EJ doesn't respond. His eyes narrow, assessing, calculating. The camera cuts to a close-up of Mark's trembling hand as he extends his resume, and then, bravely, his hand for a handshake. EJ doesn't take it. Instead, he stands, walks slowly around the desk, and circles Mark like a predator evaluating prey. "You think you can just walk into my office and ask for a job?" EJ says, his voice low, controlled. "After what you did?" Mark, to his credit, doesn't back down. I just want a chance, he says firmly. That's all. Something flickers in EJ's expression. Intrigue, maybe even a hint of respect. He glances at the resume, then looks back up. You studied biochemistry, EJ observes. And you were working under Dr. Rolfe once, weren't you? The mention of Rolfe, the notorious mad scientist with ties to countless DiMera schemes, changes everything. EJ's tone shifts slightly. Interesting, he murmurs, almost to himself. When Mark leaves the office, EJ stays behind, lost in thought. Whatever he's thinking, it's clear that Mark's appearance has stirred something. Maybe he sees an opportunity. Maybe he sees a new pawn for the DiMera chessboard. Foreshadowing, Stefano's shadow looms. The final moments of the episode tease an even darker undercurrent. As EJ returns to his desk, his eyes drift back to Wuthering Heights. He opens the book again, revealing a bookmark, a photograph of Stefano DiMera, the late patriarch whose influence still haunts every corner of Salem. EJ's lips curve into a faint, mysterious smile. The camera pans out slowly, the music swelling with tension. The question lingers in the air. Is Mark about to become part of Stefano's unfinished legacy? And what exactly does EJ have planned for him?